Opened in the late 1970s, this racecourse was first tamed by the man it's named after, Gilles Villeneuve. Now holding steady with the same layout since 2002, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, otherwise known on schedules for its host city as Montreal, is a tight, semi-permanent road course. Built partially as a street course and partially as a road course, it's perfect for some tight confined GT3 racing tonight. Welcome to Pit Stop TV in the virtual Montreal, Canada. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Lindgren alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for continuing coverage of NARL GT3 Season number 8. Tonight's coverage from Montreal is brought to you by Muradness, by JS Consulting, and by Screw Compressor Service. Zach, as we get into the session, as we get our bearings about ourselves, this racetrack is challenging, whether it's Wall of Champions at turn 14, the hairpin at turn 10, or anywhere in between or adjacent to those corners. There is tight racing through and through here at Montreal. This is a racetrack more so, I feel like, designed for formula cars, open wheel cars that have high downforce, low weight, and can nimbly get around these corners. But when you look at this track map, this is just not something I would picture GT3 cars racing on all that often, and that might be why it's so much fun.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, Andrew. This track, it does seem to be built for open wheel cars, the high downforce cars that can get through the corners a bit more easier than some of the cars that we're going to be seeing out here today. A lot more passing opportunities for them, which makes qualifying and which makes this race so incredibly important, just because of how difficult it is to pass with cars that may not have the downforce, maybe a little bit more sliding, maybe a bit more difficult to control in corners. This track is going to be very, very narrow for these guys, especially in some of the tighter parts of the track, like you mentioned in the hairpin, 10 and 11, maybe in turns 1 and 2, where you've got to really woe it down to take the hard left and then the hard right, the switchback 180 back right on 2. So this track is going to be very, very narrow, and it's going to be really important for these guys to have track position come later in the race.
I tend to run with the AI a little bit before these races, just get myself a feeling for the race course, whether it's in GT3 cars or oftentimes I'll go with the Indy car. And I did that here at Montreal because A, I'm not very good here in a GT car, and B, the Indy car is just fun to drive. But I did an AI race, 15 laps here. The way this place takes rubber, we're going to see the line move around, I think, a little bit, because it is tight. It is street course-esque. We're going to see these guys have to move around, I think, just a little bit once the track takes some rubber and takes some temperature. We might see some guys going a little bit higher, a little bit wider through turn 2. It's going to be interesting the way this track changes over the course of the day. But qualifying is getting going. Let's quickly roll through points. Here's a look at Division 1, and we were talking about it a little bit pre-race or pre-broadcast, you and I were, Zach. Chris Winstone is being bumped up to Division 1 following last week's race at Sebring. He is not yet in this graphic, and there's a reason for that. He is still being scored down as of last week in the Division 2 standings. So here you see him at the top of Division 2. You see that number, 158 points. That would be about 41 back of Yannick Steinhoff's 199, because he will retain those 158 points and just be slotted into Division 1 where he fits. So right now, Chris Winstone getting the bump to Division 1 would slot in right behind Paulo Godai and would be 41 back in 8th place of Yannick Steinhoff. That's not so bad for a D2 driver. He will be bumping up right into the top 10 here. We'll see where he fits into things going into next week's race at Charlotte. But that's a look at Division 1 with Yannick Steinhoff on top by 11, 22 back to Alvarez, 25 back to Kimbrough, 30 back to Da Silva. And then down in Division number 2, things are going to be a lot more interesting moving forward with Alex DeMarco, Dean Kerr, and Christian Gritzko. Those three all being separated by just 1 point.
Yeah, like you were saying, just kind of carrying on with that, with Winstone being bumped up into it. We've kind of seen him, like with the switch at the end of the heat race, the bump up of the top 15, the invert is what I was trying to get to. I mean, Winstone has been right there with these D1 guys. I think he still has a really good opportunity to earn points, maybe not be at the top of the points like he is as of right now, scoring in D2 as Yannick Steinhoff goes purple. But it's going to be interesting to see how well he performs with the D1 drivers. But like you were saying, now D2 being pretty much separated by a grand total of 5 points, first to fifth.
And we join qualifying then as Yannick Steinhoff has set his first lap on the racetrack. it is a 1:35.36 quick time so far for Steinhoff. Thorsten Ulrich sitting at a 1:35.38. Paulo Godai sitting at a 1:35.97. That's your top three so far overall and in division number 1. Down in division number 2 so far, Kevin Peak in a Porsche. I didn't think he was in a Porsche before, but he might have been. Still, that is a new livery for sure on that number 101 Porsche. He runs here in the 7th spot so far in qualifying. First, though, in division number 2, Ryan Passage second in that division as he rolls through turn number 10 back end of the circuit. Let's ride on board with him as he flies through the gears up into 3rd, maybe 4th gear, and flying down this long casino straight, Zach, all the way to that last chicane and the Wall of Champions. Let's see if he can go faster.
This is going to be a very pivotal part of the track, too, with everybody surrounding you. The draft is going to be very, very huge coming into this corner. A lot of guys like to jump the curbs right here to get the car to rotate. He does a pretty good job, Passage does, of getting through the final corners there. See what kind of time he takes right here at the end.
A 1:34.932 now for Ulrich. That is pole time. That lap slower for Passage, so he'll have to go for it here on lap number 3. Back up to Thorsten Ulrich. There he is. Has just broken into the 1:34 second bracket. That is a big, big mark for him in Ride Sim Sport as he tracks out perfectly to the edge of the racetrack. Yannick Steinhoff a little ways ahead, nearly broke into those 1:34s. Lucas Souza now in a Lamborghini goes 3rd. Now 4th is Paulo Godai. Jumps back into the podium spot.
I mean, these guys are pretty much right on top of each other, with Ulrich breaking into the 134 bracket. Everybody else still sitting in the 135, 3rd and 4th separated by 1/10, maybe just a little bit more as we ride on board with Souza. I mean, you can just see how narrow this track is. A lot of moving through the track, a lot of where the line is going to carry, so a lot of positioning as far as where you need to put your car to make a pass is going to be massive as we kind of get an idea of what we might see during the race.
And here's a look now at Dean Kerr in the number 84, quickest now in division number 2, and over Kevin Peak by about a 1/10 of a second, a little bit less than that. Peak has seemingly ended his qualifying run. Kerr stays on the racetrack here. Johan Fleming, Chris Winstone, they're pretty close. There's Winstone with a brand new paint scheme on his number 37 Ferrari 296 rather, flying down into the final couple of corners, and he'll have to abandon ship with that last run through the corner. Ulrich slower, Steinhoff slower, Dean Kerr as he flies down the casino straight. Let's see what he can do.
Again, these last 2 corners are going to be huge. These guys are really jumping those curbs, trying to get every little inch of track, every little tick of time that they can to try to vault themselves in front of their competitors. Let's see if Dean Kerr goes faster here.
A little bit. A little bit
by 2/10.
But he will stay just outside the top 10. In fact, so far, looking at 11th spot in qualifying overall on the grid. Here's Ricardo Delgado. He's actually going to bump up a little bit quicker, but gain no positions as David Schwartz upsets that podium and moves Paulo Godai down to the 4th spot. Schwartz now into 3rd. A couple of other drivers on the racetrack getting their times in. Kimbrough goes to 10th, so that bumps Dean Kerr down to 12th overall. Here's Hector Alvarez. He's still got a lap on his run. Could he go faster and get back in the top 10?
Made a pretty good line through those sections of the track right there. Hugs the wall a little bit, goes way out wide for this little part of the track. This part of the track right here also very, very tricky just because of how narrow everything gets. The hard left, the hard right, slow momentum through there, and then a high speed through this part of the track. So Alvarez really, really trying to dig as hard as he can right now to make sure he's got a time. Maybe a little bit of... He used pretty much the whole part of the track right there. I don't know if that's an off track. I don't know if that's considered an off, but he's still digging regardless.
Continues to dig down here to the hairpin right through turn number 10. One of the slowest, if not the slowest part of the racetrack. Back on power now to the fastest part of the racetrack. From as slow as you get to as fast as you get down this casino straight and toward the Wall of Champions. Hector Alvarez looking to break back into the top 10. He is the only driver left on track that can go faster on a time of record. Here comes Alvarez through the final couple of corners. That's the wall. That's going to be it. Hector will go no faster. That was just a little bit overzealous there at the final corner.
Trying to get all that he can get to make the time that he needed to bump up himself, which I respect pretty much leaving it all out on the track as far as qualifying goes. If you're going to go faster, you need to use every inch, and he just stepped over that little bit of an inch.
He was certainly going for it here this evening in qualifying. Let's take a look at the series schedule coming into this evening. We roll into round number 3 here at Canada. We've gone through Mugello in Italy, Sebring down in Florida. Now it's Canada here in Montreal, Quebec. Next up, Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, a week until we go there. Then England for Donington Park. A 2-week, I guess, stint in between England and Portland. We'll be at Portland International Raceway on August 28th, and then it's a 3-week run through Portland, Chicago, and through Zolder. A couple of great racetracks that you also see on the NASCAR Xfinity Series calendar there in Portland and Chicago, and a track that you see on the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series calendar in Zolder. That should be a lot of fun for the final round of this season. That'll do it in qualifying. We will let the session tick on over into the heat race, and something that I said I would do a better job of last week at Sebring was to check out the weather conditions before we get into these races. So let's go ahead and start with that this evening. The look at the Cody Williams design weather report. And Zach, it's no 134 degrees, but 102 degrees is still pretty hot here.
And it's like you said, the 102 degrees is nothing to really scoff at. It's going to really depend on how well you take care of your tires right here in the first few laps. Remember, these GT3s did go through a little bit of an update before the season started, and some of these guys are still kind of getting used to how the tires wear in, especially on a track like this where it is relatively one lane. You can't really have any kind of mistakes, so these guys are going to be pushing it to the limit. Track temp drops 1 degree there, but it's still a very hot track, and especially with cold tires, these guys are going to have to be really diligent on the throttle.
It's still warm enough, that's for sure. 101 degrees out on the track, 85 ambient temp, partly cloudy skies, winds variable out of the north and northeast. So a decent day here for racing for sure. Let's go through your Lucky Performance starting grid. Of course, this starting grid is all by qualifying times. Thorsten Ulrich on pole in car 5-5. It'll be Yannick Steinhoff from outside pole in car number 5. Starting from third, David Schwartz in car number 1. He's the defending champion of the North American Racing League. Paulo Goday will start from 4th. It'll be Eduardo Pecorini, round 1 feature race winner. In 5th spot, Johan Fleming from 6th. Starting 7th, Adrian Allshire, a new driver here to the North American Racing League. He'll start at 7th alongside Lucas Souza. And to complete your top 10 on the Lucky Performance starting grid, Francesco Antonelli, and how about Scott Kimbrough?
Just behind them in row 6 is going to be Hector Alvarez, and then leading off Division 2, Dean Kerr will take pole in Division 2. He has a good little buffer to the rest of them, but going through, Ricardo Delgado will be 13th, Edgar Ruiz will be 14th, Tomek Janikowski will be 15th. Kevin Peak, the second driver in Division 2, will 16th, Andy Ray Miller 17th, Christian Gritzko 18th, Chris Winstone, which, like we had mentioned before, being bumped up to D1 as of this race, will be starting 19th, and rounding out your top 20 will be Thomas Rayleigh.
And I know it still says D2 there next to Chris's name. I promise you he's being scored in Division number 1. Armando Aaron's there in 21st. Ryan Passage there from 22nd. I'll bomb through the rest of these real quick. Chao Trin, Scott Angelo 23rd, 24th. Then Alex De Almeida in 25th. And Manuel Sandoval 26th. Sven Hartman, brand new driver here. He'll start 27th alongside Dominic Turcotte in 28th. Then Anthony Wayand and Jake Browder, your top 30. Back to 31st, Billy Barrowman. Then Craig Yessen, 32nd. Mark Booley and Robert Guadagnoli back in row number 17. And finally, it'll be Joshua Benjamin back in row number, I guess that would be 18. there in 35th spot. Coming into the start zone, let's get this race rolling. Let's turn the music down and turn the engines up and go racing here north of the border in Canada. Here we go. Already a move from Eduardo Pecorini looking around. He falls back, actually. That was Johan Flammen on the back end of Paulo Gunay looking around for a spot. That was always fun there through turns 1 and 2. Here we go to turn number 3.
You see these guys pretty much single file out immediately. This is kind of what we were talking about, a little bit of scrapping going on back here towards the back, but these guys already single file out trying to get themselves into a line. That way they don't put themselves in harm's way and possibly a train starts to form and they start to lose position. So these guys already pretty much very lined out trying to get their bearings for how the rest of this heat race is going to be.
Here's a move. Paulo Gunay looks to the right side of David Schwartz, looks back up underneath him, and will hold in position for now, but I see some side-by-side racing further back. There goes newcomer Adrian Allstar off the racetrack, 3 wide, and they get on through. Hector Alvarez, Francesco Antonicelli, right on through. Now what a move!
That was one heck of a move. Car right through the middle. That's how you gain 2 positions. Takes the defensive line coming into the hairpin. Jumps to the outside, the 61 car does, but 70 holds strong coming out of the corner. And I did kind of want to highlight right here out of the hairpin, Antonicelli trying to get a little bit of a run. There's the little bit of grass that jets back out. It's really, really difficult to get inside somebody in the hairpin there just because of how far the track jumps out. Sandoval having trouble through here through the hairpin.
Manuel Sandoval and I believe Jake Browder turned around out of the hairpin there on lap number 1. We'll let the leaders come by and complete this first lap and then get a look back at things. So everybody flying by the speed shot now. There's a side-by-side battle there with Alvarez and Antonicelli. Some more side-by-side fights with Gritsko and one other, it looks like. And here come a few more to the line. That'll be, I think, Mark Booley and one other car, maybe Jose DeLeo potentially, as they all come across the line to complete this first lap. Jake Browder has got some trouble. That front end is hanging on by a thread.
That's going to really hurt him through the straights. If he can't get tucked up behind somebody, that's going to really hurt his draft. So he's going to have to find some, either come down pits and take that quick repair or just kind of tough it out to see if he can gain any positions and see what happened here coming into the hairpin.
He's already got damage on that car here, but it must have gotten worse down at the hairpin. So here he is through the hairpin. There goes Sandoval, and Browder just followed in his footsteps. So they both spun on their own here. And Browder got back going a little bit sooner. You see Sandoval doing the 3-point turn to get back going. Let's go back and see what happened to Browder to set this all up. He's got damage. This is coming to the start even.
I wonder if there was a bit of a checkup coming to the start and he couldn't get on the brakes soon enough.
Check this out.
And he got into the back of somebody. Here's the start right here.
Behind the 73 of Turcotte, that's that light blue McLaren. This other car, that's a green car. I think that might be Billy Bowerman in the 10. Yeah. Ooh, wow. That actually was Anthony Wayand in the 81.
Takes a big hit there off to the right. Looked like his car looked decently still intact. Actually less damage than what Browder had. But as we come back up here to the front, we jump back here to the back. We have a car around on the front stretch.
Dominic Turcotte in that light blue McLaren trying to get that car spun back around, and he will finally get it going the right direction and continue on at the bottom end now of division number 2. Up ahead, if we can finally get back to our leaders, here we go. Yannick Steinhoff. Of course, we haven't really gotten to it yet, but let's check out the Whiplash Cam's race details. 60-minute practice, 10-minute qualifying into what is now this 20-minute sprint, 40-minute feature then coming up with a 15-car invert. Fixed setup, 45% fuel, 15 incident limit, then every 5 thereafter. This is the sprint race, Zach. You've got to try and seed yourself nicely for the feature with your result here in the heat race, but of course, there will be that invert to change things around, move things around a little bit, so you really want to try and get up there, and if you know you're going to be the back end of the invert by finishing up front, you at least want to get that one extra spot.
And that's really what it comes down to. How many points can you receive in the heat race, essentially? If you're able to pop off points and maybe even get some points in the feature even after the invert, then you're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to place yourself as pretty much strategically as you can. But for people that are in 6th, maybe back to 12th, you're kind of stuck in the middle. I mean, you're not really going to change through the invert. Your position might change from 6th to 12th or 12th to 6th, but you're kind of stuck right there in the middle, quite literally. So there's still a lot on the line when it comes to the heat races. We see Antonelli get right up on the back bumper. It fades off a little bit through the straight, but there's still a lot to be on the line for the heat races, but it's difficult to be positioning yourself, as we see Angelo here, Scott Angelo, take his quick repair, comes down pit road.
Scott Angelo in for service, takes that fast fix, so problems for him. The rest of the field keeps on going. 5.5 minutes complete now in this 20-minute race. And these are your top two. Ulrich and Steinhoff, they have just come onto the scene. Now, some might say, hey, this is a North American racing league, right? Why are we seeing these Germans dominate? Well, they have been eligible to join, just like the Englishmen, I think, or at least Britishmen, if you will, in Stamsoid. We've seen drivers from other sides of the world join, not just the Americas. In this case, a couple of Germans just happen to be the best in the series right now. It's good to have them, but man, they are a thorn in the side to everybody else trying to get these top spots in these races. It's clearly going to be difficult to beat them here today, even when they invert to the back of the field.
Well, even then, to me, when it comes down to stuff like that, where it has Ulrich and Steinhoff, where they just completely, as Steinhoff goes purple again, even in 2nd place, when it comes down to drivers that just seem to have a step on you, that's how you learn. That's how you're able to learn how to take that next step and become faster, by riding around and racing with people like that, as we ride with Mark Bully here. A little bit of an issue coming out of the final corner, all clean, no contact, but a little bit of an issue there for Mark Bully and a slower car there.
So this is racing with Craig Yessen in the number 8 car, the black Mustang. That was the completion of lap 1. And we'll see what happened to him here further on in this race, but he's been in the pit lane now for a couple of minutes after towing back to the pits. So something clearly went rather wrong for him, and it might have been this right here. Boom, into the inside wall. I think he might have continued after this. So we'll look to see maybe, yeah, he's going to continue on, so that wasn't the tow. Let's try and skip ahead a little bit. And there you see he's got no rear wing. So I wonder, did he try to turn in a high-speed corner? Did it come around on him? That was okay. Let's skip ahead a little further.
If since he didn't have that front downforce, that damage on the front end wasn't allowing his car to turn as much as he had. Maybe a little bit too much wheel, maybe a little bit too much throttle, but... And no wing on that car, damage on the front end. That car can't be handling the way that he wants it to.
And this is all still a replay. There we go. Spins around, and that, I think, is where he tows. Maybe not. It's short enough. It looks closer to a Volkswagen now than a Porsche. And there he tows. He is back on the racetrack now, is Mark Bully. He was on the road last week, couldn't join the race, but he watched from afar. We thank him for doing so, but not a good start here to round number 3 for Mark Bully. A lot of troubles here for this driver in the number 89. Brand new paint scheme on that race car. Wanted to show it off today, but it has not gone well. Up towards the top, Zach. 3 McLarens, Paulo Godai, Johan Fleming, Eduardo Pecorini. Here they are.
These guys have pretty much been right on top of each other. I've kind of been riding on board with David Schwartz in my sim, and these three, Paulo Godai, Johan Fleming, and Eduardo Pecorini, they've just been
a bump and run.
I mean, maybe... man, you don't really get to see that all too often in GT3 racing, especially in any kind of GT racing. Here we go, side-by-side action. Looks like... Excuse me. It looks like Fleming might have the advantage going into the first corner. He's able to outbrake. That's going to open the door for Pecorini able to close the door on Godai. Godai now going to slip 2 spots because of that.
That one bump and run back in the hairpin from Flamin just moved G'day down 2 spots, as you mentioned. That was beautiful stuff. Us being NASCAR heads, of course, we're going to enjoy that. Paulo's not going to appreciate that one bit. He's going to be frustrated under the helmet, so Paulo wouldn't mind getting back up, I'm sure, to that 4th position and having a word with Johan Fleming. But for now, he's got his work cut out for him as he slips back to the 6th position, just ahead of Lucas Souza. Another little battle at the back end of the top 10. Hector Alvarez trying to chase down, oh my goodness, that's Tomek Jankowski, who's moved into the 10th spot, and they got very close there for a moment into that set of corners. Also a battle further back with one of the few Acuras in the field. It was just Edgar Ruiz in the Acura at first, but we've added an Acura here in Alex de Almeida, so glad to have a newcomer out of Brazil trying a car that we haven't seen much of this season. Alex here putting pressure on Thomas Rayleigh, who is uncharacteristically outside of the top 20 right now. He is well down the order, Zach. This is somebody who won a race last season and is now way down the order.
It could just be, you know, there's just some tracks that don't really fit a driver's driving style. It could just be a bunch of traffic around him as we see a car slow a little bit. There was a little bit of puff of smoke. I don't know if he got turned around, but it could just be, it could be a multitude of things right now. I wouldn't really put too much on it. We've seen the speed that Rayleigh has had, so as of right now, not looking too likely, but I wouldn't put too much on it. But it's good to see the newcomer in Alvarez here kind of mixing it up with these guys, kind of get an understanding of what he needs to do in order to be competitive with these guys. We see side-by-side action through 2, a little bit of a push out. Everybody gets situated. There's no contact, but I mean, that's what I mean. Just this track's so narrow, especially right there in 2. As we ride with Chris Winstone, it's very narrow, difficult to pass, difficult to make up any kind of spot. You see the one little mistake is going to send you back a couple car lengths, and you got to take a whole lap just to get back up to him.
And Winstone, of course, at the center of that promotion, was promoted up to Division number 1 going into this week, and boy, what a battle this would have been if he had stayed in Division number 2. He's right there with Kevin Peake and Christian Gritzko, just ahead of Dean Kerr and Armando Aarons. This would have been a great fight, as now there's problems for Eduardo Pecorini. It seems like he might be lagging out of the server here, Zach.
It's one of the real things that we got to deal with, the sim racers. Oh, he comes back. Well, I don't know if he's back for you, and there's a turn out of 11.
That is Tomek Jankowski around out of turn number 11. Problems racing there with Francesco, or was that Ricardo Delgado he was racing with? I think it was this whole line. I think Adrian Allstar was on his back end and maybe turned him around. That is Jankowski still spun around there out of the hairpin. A lot happening at this very moment. Eduardo Pecorini came back, and then this happened. Let's go back a little further. Here's Tomek Jankowski. He's got Hector Alvarez there right behind. Hang on, I've gone too far back. Here we go. Jankowski was slow on the inside, Alvarez there on the outside, and Alvarez got squeezed. That's on Jankowski.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there, Andrew. Like I said, I feel like that's just one of the trouble spots coming out of 11 with that grass jetting out like that. Everybody's trying to pretty much get back to the right out of a very hard right hairpin just because of that little bit of a indent into the track there, and it's just that little bit of a squeeze trying to get all you can to make sure you hold position.
This should show it right there. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hector's over as far as he can go, and Jankowski keeps coming over. You've just got to be aware of that.
Especially when you're the driver on the inside there on the rumble strips, there's not much you could do besides going through the grass, and at that point, you've pretty much given up everything you can. Alvarez, yeah, was pretty much there. I mean, maybe a little bit further left he could have been. I mean, we're talking very minimal. I don't think that would have been able to help the situation, but I feel like Alvarez was pretty much as far over as he could be in that very short amount of time that everything kind of transpired.
And there's Jankowski out of Poland, now back in the 18th spot in class, right behind Jake Browder. That is 27th overall. So things calming down. Eduardo Pecorini, by the way, it seems has dropped from the session, either by choice or by force. I'm not really sure. But he is now one lap down, as Kevin Peak has found himself in a very odd predicament. This, I think, is around turn 4 and 5. It is. And he'll resume.
He just got into the corner a little bit too deep with him being on that pretty much car drop-off zone. So I don't, maybe just a little bit too deep trying to race somebody, maybe racing Kimbrough or Winstone there. So.
Did you say car drop-off zone?
I did say car drop. I was trying to find. Oh, he got the grass. Well, good save. I'll give him that for him not turning the car around. But I did say car drop-off zone. I was trying to come up with the words. It didn't hit my brain, so I said car drop-off zone just to kind of hold over so I wasn't stuttering.
I was gonna say, is this an elementary school or is it this drop-off in Nemo? I don't know. But
why not? Why not?
Here's the replay there for Kevin Peak. Got the grass right as he got on the brakes and decided to turn in, and the car was going to over-rotate. He did a great job, very heads-up racing move from him to keep that car on the racetrack and point it the right direction. Back up to live picture. Here's Lucas Souza on the back end of Paulo Godoy. This is into the final 4 minutes now. I would say the final 3 laps or so. This could be a great little fight for the top 5 as our leaders are getting closer, Zach. Here's a move back up to them. We have not seen these two in a little while. Ulrich still leads, Steinhoff second, but they're only a few tenths apart.
About a lap or two ago where Ulrich actually set purple lap time. He set the quickest time, and Yannick still hasn't really let him get out of his grasp. These guys have been within a second of each other this entire first race, this entire heat race. So these guys pretty much putting down similar lap times to try to keep up with each other, but it's hard to gain on somebody when they're setting similar lap times. As Yannick there has a little bit of issue through 11.
That was
really
a big
lets Ulrich
issue.
get away.
That was a big issue, and that's going to be it, I think, for the win now. Unless Ulrich makes a big mistake, I think that's it. Yannick has slid far enough back now that he's not gotten the draft. That is going to be hard to overcome at this point in time. So that changes things up at the top of the field. We'll let the field cycle through the speed shot here as they get 2 laps to go. Ulrich, Steinhoff, and that lapped car, I believe, was Scott Angelo. Ulrich faster at a 134.689. Here comes the rest of the field on through. Side by side right there in front of you. Let's go to that. Kimbrough and Antonelli.
Now, if Kimbrough could have stayed to the inside, he would have had the preferred line. Antonelli able to pretty much reline everybody out in braking. So Kimbrough had a shot, wasn't able to.
For the top of Division 2, side by side, Andy Ray Miller and Christian Gritzio. Kevin Peak is chasing these guys side by side there. Oh my goodness. For the race win in Division 2, and Andy Ray Miller's got the advantage.
A little bit of door tap in there. These guys trying to take every single inch of track that they can. Again, this track is so narrow, you have to be in a particular spot in order to gain speed or gain position on these guys. So if you're out of position just a little bit, you've got to take advantage of as much as you can. And right there, you saw it with Andy Ray Miller. He was able to get over on Gritzko a little bit too far, and he was able to kind of hold position.
Towards the back end of the lap, there they go, right by the camera. Edgar Ruiz, that red and orange Acura just ahead of Andy Ray Miller, and then it's through that blue Mustang. It's the white and purple Porsche and the blue Mustang of Christian Gritzko. That's the fight for the lead at the top of Division number 2 right now. I'm just saying, if only Chris Winstone was still in this class, because he'd be third, we'd have the top 3 all in a row right now. But he does break up the Division 2 drivers as Dean Kerr sits behind them and is followed up by Armando Aarons and Ryan Passage. We could have the top 6 in Division 2 all in order, but Winstone breaks them up. Instead, at the top end of this field, Thorsten Ulrich continues to lead as he works into turn number 6 and 7 now. He has got a commanding lead now of 2.5 seconds over Yannick Steinhoff, and we're in the final lap. You saw the white flag graphic brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. Back to that Division 2 fight.
Oh, and you were mentioning Winstone there with this D2 fight with Christian Gritzko and Andy Ray Miller, but Winstone currently sitting in P15. He's going to, if everything holds as of right now, he is going to be P1 come start of the feature race, part of the invert. So he's kind of sitting in the catbird seat, if anything. So right now, Winstone in a really good spot. But Andy Ray Miller and Christian Gritzko, the closest in battle as far as D2. As we look at Ulrich here coming down the long straight, he's looking to take P1 in this heat race.
Tomek Jankowski towed back to the pit lane, problems for him. But at the top of the field, oh, big hit to the curbing there. Here comes Thorsten Ulrich to claim the heat race win, the sprint race win here at Canada. It goes to Thorsten Ulrich in car double nickel car 55 here. Everybody else will come across now. Where is that battle for 6th and 7th? Here they come to the line. Francesco Antonicelli with the run. Oh, he's going to run out of gas. Kimbrough goes on through. He'll take 7th. Antonicelli down to 8th. Right at the last moment. And down to Division number 2. A spin. Winstone's around.
I think that's just a bit of broadcaster curse. Winstone was in a great position. Maybe just a little bit too much of a curbing is going to drop him significantly down the order, especially for the feature. Now he's got a big gap to make up as far as the feature race goes.
This is going to completely end his run for the day. This will most likely be a drop race for him now, as he will finally get back going with a very injured number 37 dropping down the order rapidly, down now to the 26th position. He'll cross the stripe in and officially or unofficially take that spot. Dominic Turcotte will come across the line 27th, Craig Yesson 28th, and a few others will come across the line now. Here's a nice little battle. Anthony Wayan and Billy Bowerman. Very last moment battle here. Wayan, drag race, and he's likely going to win it. He is going to win that drag race. Back to the line over Billy Bowerman. That is for 30th spot, and that will end the sprint race. Thorsten Ulrich wins in Division 1. Andy Ray Miller wins in Division number 2. What a way to come back for Andy Ray Miller after that heartbreak of a week ago.
I mean, we were kind of discussing it a little bit there too, Andrew, just because of how heartbreaking it was to come out of the final corner and your car in position to get podium and doesn't end up on podium. So good little bounce back. He gets himself a win. First time Division 2 winner that we don't see Winstone in victory lane for it. So it's good to see another name up top for Division 2.
That'll end the sprint race. And boy, what a sprint race that was. That was pretty chaotic there right at the end. Of course, we had the spin from Tomek Jankowski. We had the spin from Chris Winstone. We had the bit of brawling there for the win. And, you know, I don't think we're going to be earning any fans from the Jankowski camp. I'm going to stay stiff on that. Tomek Jankowski, if you're listening, Hector Alvarez is at a racetrack, but we'll let you guys review that and get your own opinions about it from there. We saw it there on broadcast, but let's talk about what's upcoming for this series, Zach, because as we move forward from today, we're starting to build more and more storylines towards Charlotte, and that's going to be, I think, the most chaotic round of the series. The close second might be Chicago. Those two, I think, are going to be the two more chaotic rounds of this season for sure.
No, I couldn't agree more, Andrew. With Chicago having the long straights, both the front and out of 6 going into 7, there's a lot of opportunities for passing. But at Charlotte, with these cars of how slidey, how big, how much horsepower that these cars have, they're going to be right on top of each other. A lot of technical parts of that track. And really the only fastest part is coming out of the infield through NASCAR 1 and 2 down into the bus stop. So there's a lot of passing opportunity. Like you said, a lot of opportunity for chaos. So I'm really looking forward to how Charlotte and these cars kind of clash together.
And we're only continuing to build some of the animosity out there in the field. I'm just talking about what I see in Discord, honestly, and I think there's going to be some drivers who are not too happy with others going into Charlotte next week. We saw a couple bump and runs already in this race, Zach, in this sprint race. It's going to be even more interesting when we go to a place like Charlotte next week, where contact is almost encouraged when the NASCAR series go there in October. Want to take a look at what's upcoming for us here at the channel. Next up, Zach, it's a return to some NASCAR style racing even, as we head out to Rockingham Speedway on Tuesday, August 5th, and then head out to Homestead Miami Speedway. Hey, we've been there in the North American Racing League, not on the oval, partially on the oval, but on the road course there at Homestead Miami Speedway. That's where Thomas Raley won a season ago here in the NARL. But that's going to be a lot of fun, these next couple of races coming up to begin August, back with a NASCAR style series at Rockingham and then at Homestead, Zach, and of course Charlotte in between. But if you had to pick between Rockingham and Homestead, they're two driver favorites, where would you want to go?
Me personally, I'd have to choose the Rock. There's just something about Rockingham that I just really love. Now, don't get me wrong, I do really love Homestead Miami. I do really enjoy racing on it on the oval, but for me, as far as a fan favorite, I'd have to go with the Rock. It's been around for quite a while, and that's just my personal preference for it.
So as warm-up comes down to a close, a minute left to go in this session, let's take a look at how things have maybe changed in the weather conditions out there on the racetrack. The track temp has come down considerably. We have gotten some more cloud cover. Let me get out of the B-roll here that you're seeing on the screen and get into live conditions in the sim. We're getting more cloud coverage, breaking up the sun and cooling the track down. That's going to build grip for these guys. And the ambient temp has stayed about the same. It was 84.9, I think, earlier, 84.7 now. So a very marginal difference. It really is just that track temp that's changing.
I think that's going to help these drivers plenty once we get down to the feature here within the next 30 seconds. I think that's going to help the drivers, especially making moves out on the track. Rayleigh goes fastest in the warm-up, but I think that's going to help a lot with making moves, possibly making passes. I think that's going to help a lot with grip. That's going to help a lot with cold tires, too, being able to get on the throttle just a little bit quicker now. Some of these guys that are taking advantage of the warm-up, I think they're getting a little bit of a taste of that, so something to look forward to as the feature starts off.
Something to watch for sure, as the sim will switch over sessions into the race session. And we will take a look back at the new starting grid brought to you by Lucky Performance. Sorry, I'm trying to button up odds and ends on the other monitors here as we take a look at the track conditions changing to 95 degrees Fahrenheit there on the track temp. Let's take a look then at the new Lucky Performance starting grid. By virtue of the invert, Dean Kerr, Christian Gritzko, and Andy Ray Miller, the top three from Division 2, will lead us to the green here in the feature race. Of course, this is a 40-minute feature race, one pit stop in there. That's what these guys are up against, as Dean Kerr and Christian Gritzko will lead us to the green flag on the front row, with Andy Ray Miller just behind. Edgar Ruiz in the fourth spot, followed up by Ricardo Delgado and Adrian Alshar. They're in the sixth position, brand new driver there. Hector Alvarez in seventh, Francesco Antonicelli in eighth, Scott Kimbrough ninth, and Lucas Souza 10th.
Continuing on, Paulo Gadawi and Johan Flammen will be 11th and 12th. David Schwartz, Yannick Steinhoff, and Thorsten Ulrich 13th, 14th, and 15th. Remember, because of the invert, they are down in the middle of the pack. Armando Aarons, Ryan Passage 16th, 17th, Thomas Rayleigh 18th, Sven Hartman 19th, and rounding out your top 20, Alex de Alameda.
Starting 21st, Chow Trin. Good to see him in the YouTube chat. Doesn't know a lot of the tracks coming up, but is excited to go for it again here in the feature race at Montreal. Joshua Benjamin from 22nd spot. 23rd, Kevin Peak. 24th, Manuel Sandoval. Followed up by Jake Browder, Dominic Turcotte, Craig Yessen, Anthony Wayand, and Chris Winstone, and Bob Guadagnoli there in 30th. Then followed up by Billy Bowerman, Tommy Kinkowski, Sky Angelo, Mark Booley, and Eduardo Pecorini at the very back end of the field. Pecorini back in the session, ready to go at it here as these guys are set to go back racing. Thanks for joining us here at Pit Stop TV this evening. Thanks for spending your time with us. And a big thank you to those who partner with this series, Moradness, JS Consulting, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and our partners here at the channel, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. Here we go, Zach, into the start zone. We are green flag racing for the feature race now in Canada. Top end of the field through Virage. Senna, one spinning. That's Alvarez. Watching the leaders, though. They were nose to tail, fender to fender. Here they go.
Kind of saw the fight between Gritzko and Andy Ray Miller there in the heat. And finally, Gritzko kind of gets the best of Andy Ray Miller. Now Andy Ray Miller in heat from Delgado, or excuse me, not Delgado.
That's Yannick Steinhoff.
From Ruiz.
That was Yannick Steinhoff you saw in the pit lane briefly. We are going to have a handful of replays to go through when we get back to live picture, or get back to the end of this first lap, rather.
Right now, Dean Kerr just holding off everybody as we see a lot more contact, and this is what I was kind of concerned about when it came to this track. A lot of these faster guys stuck right in the middle, not being able to pass, not being able to make too many moves. They got to pick them off one at a time. That's kind of what you get with a little bit of a defensive line. Still diving it down. Still make it work. A little bit of bobbing, a little bit of banging. Gonna be able to pass through. These guys not giving it up just yet. A little bit of side draft. Still door banging down the straight.
I don't think these two are happy with one another. This is Thorsten Ulrich and Francesco Antonicelli down the casino straight into the final couple of corners here on lap number one. Francesco is going to have to give it up. Antonicelli falls in behind. Christian Gritzko at the top end of the field. He's going to come around and lead lap one.
Saw it last week. Gritzko had the pole coming into the feature race, lost it in turn one, learned a little bit from his mistake, able to take over from Dean Kerr there and be able to drive off a little bit as we see Flamen come down pit road. We actually have some black flags handed out. Johan Flamen, Scott Kimbrough, both black flagged, I'm guessing because of the turn one incident on lap one, but a lot of guys coming down already to get either damage repaired or maybe an early strategy call, but a lot of guys down pit road already.
Yeah, those won't be strategy calls. Those are all damage repaired for sure. Let's check out what happened here with Johan Flamen potentially first. This is down to turn one, and he's going to punt the 93 of Godai, it looks like. I think that's who that was. Oh my goodness. That's a mess down there in the first corner.
And just after Johan Flamen and Scott Kimbrough's black flag, Yannick Steinhoff was also black flag, so he is getting the no-no from the stewards for, I'm guessing, this incident. Looked like the hole was open, 93 moved over, maybe just a little bit. Flamen may not have been prepared, and that's what kind of started all this.
And that was contact from Flamen to Godai, and that caused all of this mess down here, because that even shot Scott Kimbrough down into what I believe he's being blamed for causing. Kimbrough was along for the ride. I'm going to petition this one for sure. I mean, not that my voice carries any weight, but I'm going to verbally petition it, because he gets hit there by that car spinning. That was Godai, and then that clips him into Hector Alvarez. So if that's all it was, I would petition it. But let's watch a little further here with Scott Kimbrough and see if he caused anything else, because that's certainly possible, as this was a move by, oh, wow, whoa!
Well, as you were speaking there, Andrew, the stewards removed the black flag from Scott Kimbrough, but then they did black flag Manuel Sandoval, I'm guessing, for that incident that we just saw right there.
I think that was Yannick Steinhoff, actually. So watch this. So he drives through that little moment there in turn one, but then on board with Yannick down into turn four. Latest of the late breakers for sure. Runs right through one Moradness car into Kimbrough. And that Moradness car, I believe, was David Schwartz.
It just wasn't prepared. I mean, that's kind of what we get for the invert happening. You're up front, you kind of get used to your braking zones. Now you have to adjust for people braking in front of you. Yannick Steinhoff just wasn't prepared for the braking that was going to happen in front of him, and he just overshot the corner a little bit. Maybe it looks like takes two really good race cars with him.
And there was some more chaos after that I'm trying to find here. This is watching Thomas Rayleigh. He's been damaged to this point already. That might have been it as far as the big stuff, big heavy stuff that we have to watch for. Lucas Souza had some damage, but that might have been something unrelated. Yeah, he's got a punched in left rear in the replay. So that is the craziness that happened there on lap 1. Let's get back to live picture as Ricardo Delgado's around. Oh my goodness, not Ricardo. He had a top 10 there in the sprint race. This is terrible.
While we were kind of going through that, and we kind of had a shake-up for the top, Edgar Ruiz was running down our leader at one point. Now both of them gone. Edgar Ruiz had to serve a black flag. I'm not sure what happened to, I believe it was Gritzko. He was also leading, but that handed the lead back to Andy Ray Miller, who now is getting charged by Thorsten Ulrich. Now battle for the top.
There you see a moment between Ricardo Delgado and Xiao Trin. That has landed Xiao with damage that has caused him to tow back to the pit lane. So that's what happened there with Xiao. And then let's get back to live picture as Thorsten Ulrich has just gone by Andy Ray Miller for the overall lead. And he's going to bring Adrian Allstar along with a big dive there. Another big dive from Francesco Antonelli, who's got no front bumper. He makes that dive on Dean Kerr. This is chaos up front.
With these Division 2 drivers right in front, these Division 1s are trying to get everything they can, because one little slip is going to either send you around or send you towards the back of the pack. So these Division 1 is trying everything they can to get around some of these Division 2 drivers. Man, that was one heck of a send there by Antonelli, especially without a front bumper. Dean Kerr now going to have to pay the prices. Gritzko now starts fighting with Dean Kerr coming towards the line. Armando Aaron's coming down pit road. He was actually black flagged by the stewards as well, so he is serving his black flag for this. And a little bit of a spin. Dean Kerr around gets it straightened out. A little bit of a help from a fellow driver, but Dean Kerr around through turn 2.
This field, I wish you could see the overall timing and scoring. It is all over the place. It's green, green, purple, green, purple, green, purple, 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 green, 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 purple, green, purple. I mean, it's crazy. That's just through the top 15 or so. It is a complete mixed bag of who's who in the zoo, in what class and whatnot, who's fast and whatnot. I mean, it is crazy out there. As Robert Guadagnoli was slow, he gets back going. Hector Alvarez goes fastest, and at the front of it all, two teammates, and look at Andy Ray Miller knock the wall down there. Oh my goodness. But two teammates from Ride Sim Sport are out front. It is Thorsten Ulrich out ahead over Adrian Allstar. Adrian, in his very first start at all here with the North American Racing League, a wonderful debut on hand for him.
What better team to join than Ulrich and have that kind of guidance over what your first race should be? We kind of talked about Ulrich a little bit there. Ulrich going to pull over. Ulrich going to overtake. Ulrich pulled over there. Now, I'm sure that might have been a little bit of a team demand. Maybe Ulrich wanted to get Ulrich out front, but a little bit of a switch up there for the teammates. Ulrich to the front, Ulrich to second.
I wonder how that'll be viewed optically, because, I mean, that swaps the lead around, that gives the lead to a newcomer, gives him a chance to get some points under his belt. It also can allow Ulrich to save fuel. If he's able to sit right in the tire tracks of Ulrich, this could help Thorsten actually pull further away from the field by him saving fuel and then going back out ahead. This is going to be an interesting one to monitor as the race goes on, but we have got count them, six Division 2 drivers in the overall top 10. That's more Division 2 drivers in the top 10 than Division 1 drivers. Here's a look at what's going on at the back end of your top 10. Dean Kerr, Sven Hartman, Kevin Peek all in a row here, right ahead of Johan Flammen, who is some way down the order. That's actually Chris Winstone right behind. Winstone's a lap down.
I think Winstone was involved in some of the extracurricular activity, so to say, as part of the lap 1 carnage. I think Winstone there, just like you were speaking in the heat race, gonna have to take this as a drop week. Now he's just kind of running for experience, I guess, at this point, just to get some seat time, be around these guys, see how he needs to run. But these three all in a line right here, and I mean, right on top of each other. Sure, maybe a gap separating each of them, but a good little gap between them. As we look at the behind of Gritzko, and the car behind him of Joshua Benjamin also will take position over Gritzko. That's another Division 2 pass, so that's another position for Division 2.
And Thorsten Ulrich has now gone back ahead of Adrian Altschar, so maybe just a move to get Adrian a lap led and then swap those two back. I don't think that's a bonus point, but maybe a bragging point for these two as they play some games at the front of the field ahead of Francesco Antonicelli. Jake Browder slow out of the final corner. He gets back going. Oh my goodness, the chaos is not calming down, Zach, and we've still got a pit stop, and then everything else to go through as Altschar's got problems. He falls back behind Antonicelli and Miller.
A little bit of a problem there for Altschar, maybe. I mean, we did see Antonicelli start to gain a little bit of time on Altschar. I don't know if there was any kind of contact. Maybe Altschar, looking in his rearview mirror, maybe a little bit more than he should have, got on the throttle a little bit quicker. But Altschar quickly fades out of the top position, quickly back down the running order. Looks like he had a bad entry into the final few corners there, which gave Ulrich the run, gave it up to Ulrich, and then from there it's just kind of been a little bit of a slide. Plenty of time to recover, though, but right now, Altschar a little bit on the downhill slope right now.
Here is what happened with Adrian Altschar. Of course, you saw the move to let his teammate go back by, and then this happens on corner exit. He actually pulls over and lets those guys go by. So maybe a slowdown. You know what? I hadn't even considered that, Zach. This track is ripe with slowdowns. Each one of these moments could have been a slowdown.
Yeah, that's I mean, you bring up a good point. We didn't really talk about that, but this track is very, very demanding when it comes to track limits, so it's very possible that a slowdown does occur. Maybe he's just in a position where he didn't feel comfortable, wanted to get out of those guys' way to gain a little bit of seat time. As we see the two Porsches here, very similar liveries, go at it and slides right up in front. I believe one of these guys is Chow Trin. He was black flagged for, I'm guessing, an incident on track by the stewards. Looking inside. What a great move right there. Send!
So this is a replay. Lucas Souza and Robert Guadagnoli having contact a couple of laps ago, and that's what happened there between those two. And then there's been a recent issue for Edoardo Pecorini. Let's see his car. It looks to be mostly intact. This is back to live picture. Pecorini, his car is intact, more or less. He's down to 24th overall, 13th, I believe, in class. Here's a look at Sven Hartmann putting pressure on Dean Kerr. This is for 8th on the racetrack.
Dean Kerr got a long line behind him. Sven Hartmann takes to the inside, moves up just a little bit, forces Dean to the outside, maybe a little bit of contact. We did see smoke there. Dean Kerr wanted to go 3 wide, backs out of it, but now Sven in competition here, coming down the long straight with, I believe that is Kevin Peak in D2. He's going to take advantage of all that shuffling.
Kevin Peak goes on by. Sven Hartmann moves on through. Johan Fleming now into the top 10 overall. Francesco Antonicelli has come down to the pit lane. Zach, is this a black flag?
Nothing as far as Antonicelli for a black flag, so this might be strategy. It's going to be right on the cusp of pretty much making it to the end, but Antonicelli coming down pit road, I'm guessing for a strategy call. No black flag called on him so far.
No black flag, it seems. Here comes Paulo Godai. This makes me wonder if these are two McLarens missing their front bumpers, both coming in at the same time to try and salvage their race as best as they can, come in as early as the fuel allows them, get that fast repair, head back on the racetrack. I wonder if that's the move, as Godai does the exact same thing. And oh my goodness, this race has just got so many layers to it. Francesco is still in the pit lane. He's been in the pit lane now for over a minute. Maybe a speeding penalty at hand.
Possibly a speeding penalty. Nothing's come over as far as the stewards, so this could be an iRacing handed out penalty. We don't get to see that. Let me check. Let me check to see if he does have any kind of black flag. He does. Francesco Antonincelli does have a black flag sitting over his name, so it could be a speeding penalty coming into pit road. So you see a battle here, maybe looking to the outside, overdrives the corner just a little bit, tries the crossover, not going to work, but these guys go. There's just no shortage of action here, Andrew.
And this is two different divisions going at it. Ryan Passage in Division 2, passing up Edgar Ruiz in Division 1. Passage will make the pass and go on by. He'll now chase down David Schwartz and Manuel Sandoval, who lie ahead as Division 1 drivers. At the front of the field, it's Thorsten Ulrich out front by 4.3 seconds. Andy Ray Miller in second. Adrian Alshar now in the third spot. Alex de Almeida in third. What a day this could be for Andy Ray Miller if he's able to hang on even to a podium spot overall. That might be a first year in the North American Racing League.
Done a really good job of holding on to that position. We see Olshar here. He did pull over to let some of these guys by. He's been able to regain that position and get back up to Andy Ray Miller, but at the same time, he hasn't been able to get by Andy Ray Miller. So Andy Ray Miller holding a really, really nice car right now, holding really good lines, not really giving up too much, just kind of holding his position.
On board with Andy, as Edgar Ruiz has come to the pit lane. Down through the gears into the hairpin with Andy Ray Miller. He's got Olshar just behind, out wide that time at the exit of turn 10. It's those moments that are going to open the door up to Adrian if he wants to go by. Let's see what happens in the draft.
It's gonna give Adrian the draft here coming down the long straight. He's gonna peak. He doesn't look like it's gonna be close enough. Gonna have to tuck back in line for the final two corners. If Andy Ray Miller nails this, Adrian's not really gonna have a run. He doesn't, maybe slips up a little bit. Olshar there slips up a little bit. Andy Ray Miller able to scoot away as Ulrich goes quickest yet again on track.
A 134.778 now for Thorsten Ulrich. Joshua Benjamin into the pit lane. This is a career day so far for him as he pits out of the top 10. He's not alone though. Kevin Peek, it seems, in with him as well. Johan Flamen has come in, but that I think was a penalty earlier. There's Armando Aarons in the pit lane. And Benjamin gets rolling on down the pits. He's made his stop. And we'll continue on. You see Chris Winstone in the pit lane behind him. This is the first pit stop, I believe, out of really the top 10 that I think is more so in a position that is warranted, right? I mean, this is pretty much on time and where you would expect it to be.
Now, I was going to mention, depending on where you pit on track, I do kind of like the early call. It gives you kind of clean air, a clean track to be able to run your laps, but we saw there he rejoined back in the middle of a pack, so it's really dependent on where you decide to stop. Dean Curd now down pit road. He was hanging on to the back end of the top 10 there, but looks like he's come down pit road here to service his car. And
it has been a tow for Dean Kerr as well. You saw the pit time was even between the pit lane time and the pit box time. Here's what happened to him as he goes off in turn number 4. Right behind Kevin Peek and Sven Hartman, he just pulls off the racetrack and I think decides that he's had enough.
It's rather unfortunate. We did kind of highlight him at the beginning of this race just because of where he was going to be starting, but all that chaos started to ensue and he also kind of slid down the results tab there, so it's just difficult for him to see as we ride on board here with Sven Hardman. Car right in front of him, looks like he gets a good angle into turn 2, not going to have the run. Car slips just a little bit on throttle, not going to have the run down this little straight.
Short little straightaway up to turn number 4, and Sven Hartman in that BMW will stay right behind Kevin Peek in that Porsche. The BMW now one of the elder statesmen of this GT3 category, Zach. I recall when this car released on iRacing, it was new, and it was even ahead of its time. The car hadn't really released yet in real life racing. That was a few years ago now. It has become one of the older cars in this category, and it's good to see somebody pioneering it here in the North American Racing League this season. We have not seen much BMW action in a handful of seasons now since that car is no longer new. Down deep in the field, Eduardo Pecorini moving here on Thomas Rayleigh. Pass is made. Those two, if you can believe it, used to be teammates.
A little bit of maybe a chemistry pass there as soon as Rayleigh saw it to the inside, really kind of looked like he gave it up a little bit, but we see some side-by-side action here down the long straight. Looks like nothing's really going to give here. Car on the outside, the Porsche gives it up. That looks like that's going to be Andy Ray Miller that gives up that P2 now to Olshar. So Olshar into P2, Andy Ray Miller takes, will hold on to P3. And Alex Almeida is coming down pit road to service his car to pretty much take his one and only stop.
Meanwhile, Sven Hartman stays in the back end of Kevin Peak. So back to this little fight for what will be 4th in class. Sven Hartman up the inside, slower car ahead. That might be Dean Kerr. I think, yeah, that is Dean Kerr. They go by him, and that holds this battle up just a little bit. Sven not able to take advantage of that moment as we hit the exact halfway moment there. Halfway through this race, halfway to go. Jake Browder to the pit lane, and he has been there for a few seconds now. We'll see if this is a scheduled stop. I think it is. There he goes. Looks to be a scheduled stop there for Browder.
I do kind of want to give my kudos to Kerr there for getting out of the way. Sure, it's hard to let cars pass you, especially when you've had the day like he has. He gets out of the way of a position battle, gets out of the way of a battle in and of itself. So I got to give it to Kerr there for allowing these guys to get through, not really have any kind of say on how the position goes. But these two, Sven Kerr, or excuse me, I'm sorry, Sven Hartman, excuse me, and Kevin Peak still right on top of each other, not really letting anybody get away here. So these two, pretty much the hottest battle on track right now. We do have some cars around each other, but this is the hottest battle as of right now.
Ulrich goes even faster at the top end of the field. Hartman stays in behind as now Christian Gritzko will pit. So coming to service now, he is the number 91. A new paint scheme on this number 91 as well. He was proud about this, happy about this paint scheme, a partnership with Shut Up and Drive It, and I believe they have some partnership with Moradnis as well into the pit lane for Gritzko.
Now with everybody spread out, Andrew, Gritzko able to take his quick repair. We saw a little bit of front end damage on the left side for Gritzko. He's going to have a clean car now. With everybody spread out, he should be able to put down some quality laps, be able to put himself up into a good little running order. But these two, Sven Hartman, Kevin Peak, still not letting each other go. Sven looking for any and all opportunities to get by Kevin Peak, not being able to find anything as of right now. It looks like he's got the faster car in the straights. That's a usual BMW trait. Has a lot of motor in the straights, but has difficulties in the corner. So Sven kind of dealing with what the BMW has to offer as far as what the BMW is. Just a little bit of corner trouble, but able to close back up in the straights.
And they will pull up on a slower car. That looks to be Billy Bowerman in the number 10, who is a lap down. Christian Gritzko has been released right around Eduardo Pecorini and Thomas Rayleigh. So 15th on the racetrack currently for the number 91. And I would expect some pit stops very soon from guys like Thorsten Ulrich, Adrian Allstar, Andy Ray Miller, Johan Flem, and Kevin Peak. I mean, eventually these guys have got to pit. So I would expect that if they didn't pit there, I would expect it the next time around. Maybe the time after that.
I mean, the longer you go, the less fuel you got to put in, which means a quicker pit stop. So, no! Sven Hartman out of 2. Loses the back end.
Sven Hartman, the feel-good story of Division number 2 today, is parked over here waiting for a gap to flip that car around. There he goes. He's going to try and get the car around. I think he could have been a little more aggressive with it, but he's trying to stay respectful, trying to stay out of the way here. I respect it. It's been a while since I've seen an 11.9 Sim Sport car on the racetrack. Good to see him here tonight, but Sven having some trouble.
Waiting for everybody to go by, and like you said, that's the hardest part as a driver, to try to get the car turned around in a very, very narrow track. He's able to do so, now rolling again, but loses a bunch of time, a lot of positions on track because of that. As we ride on board here with Ricardo Delgado behind Alex Almeida. Almeida, I kind of want to give a tip of the hat to Almeida. We did kind of highlight Olshar being new to the league, so is Almeida, and Almeida running fantastic up here in the Acura of all cars. So Almeida now holding pretty steady in front of, excuse me, I forget the name, but Almeida right now holding strong.
That's Ricardo Delgado right behind him. And pit stop now, Andy Ray Miller comes into the pit lane in car 33. He is joined by Scott Angelo in a Ferrari, who pits from the top 3 of division number 2. And they are also joined by Dominic Turcotte, who comes in that light blue McLaren. I'd expect some more. Ricardo Delgado comes in. Benjamin will stay out. He's already pitted, so maybe Craig Yessen comes in. He will. Could we see Sven Hartman? Yes, Sven Hartman will pit.
Sven Hartman likely coming in for obviously his final stop, but to get a little bit of his damage repaired. Again, these guys do have one quick repair sitting on the table for them should they decide to take it, and I feel like that's a no-brainer. You kind of got to take it here on the last stop to make sure your car is in pristine condition for this final run. Andrew, we're within the final 15 minutes and still no shortage of action with everybody pitting now. This is going to kind of give us a clear idea of what to look forward to in these final 15.
And I'm going to be honest, Zach, it's getting down to award time for these guys as here comes the race leader, Thorsten Ulrich, to the pit lane. He will come in, of course, for service. I'm going to give my Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day award, if I can, to Thorsten Ulrich, by getting through all of that mess there at the start of the race. He was just kind of put in the right place to take advantage of those D2 cars ahead of him. He's not even, there we go, there's the fast repair taken, so he will take the fast fix at this pit stop and continue on in the race lead. Thorsten Ulrich, going to get my lucky break of the day if I can get it out. There in car 55, there is Adrian Allstar coming into his box, Johan Fleming as well, and Zach, just like that, it's about time to talk about driver of the day.
As we look on board with Kevin Peak here in his stop, like we said, this should be the final stop for everybody to kind of get an idea of where everybody is going to be running. David Schwartz now coming down the pit road as well, but my driver of the day, Andrew, I already kind of highlighted him. We did talk about Olshar a little bit, but I got to give it to Alex Almeida for being just new to the league, not really on, I'm not for sure as far as team-wise. It doesn't look like he's got much of any kind of help, but he's been able to put himself into the top 3 now because of how the pit stops have gone, how everything is shaped out. So with the first heat run, he didn't finish all particularly too well. I believe he finished 20th in the heat race, but able to come out, show out. As of right now, P3 on the board, a podium nonetheless. My driver of the day has got to go to Alex Almeida.
I'll keep this easy. Thorsten Ulrich, I don't know how you can look past him. He, of course, won that sprint race, top of the field here in the feature. He's looking to be the very first Division 1 driver to sweep a day here in the North American Racing League with this new race format. I have full faith in him right now, 16 seconds up on his teammate. I mean, yeah, easy to say. I think Thorsten Ulrich is my driver of the day.
As far as D2 goes for driver of the day, I'm going to have to give mine to Andy Ray Miller. I mean, we did document him last week. Obviously, the final corner drama with Andy Ray Miller. He's been able to hold strong with everything that has happened here today in front of everybody in the D1 series. Been able, before pit stops, was able to hold in the top 3, I believe. Maybe a little bit of a slower stop, currently scored second in D2, but I've got to give mine to Andy Ray Miller for one heck of a bounce back from last week and be able to hold strong against D1 drivers after the invert.
And not to just keep it easy with taking the winners or the leaders that you're not taking, but I got to take Joshua Benjamin. I took him last week at Sebring. The sim froze, and I'll knock on wood for tonight. The sim froze, and I couldn't really justify why I picked him. At the time, he was up a ton of spots. Tonight, he's leading Division number 2, and if we look at the positions gained, he is up, let's see, 17 spots. That's second only to Scott Angelo, it looks like, in this division as a whole. That is a very impressive day there for Joshua Benjamin. And I will say, I'm now noticing Eduardo Pecorini up 28 positions since the start of this race. I find it hard to, well, I don't find it hard to take him. I could easily take him for driver of the day, but I find it hard to take anybody but Thorsten Ulrich. He's up 14 spots. He won the sprint race, is now likely going to win this feature race. I can't not take Thorsten.
I mean, those are pretty solid picks, and I don't disagree with you. It's very, very hard to not look past Ulrich just because of the drive that he's had to go through everything that he had on turn one, lap one, and be able to get through unscathed, drive up through the pack, and take the lead. And not only take the lead, take it by 17 seconds out of the last lap. So we right on board here with Olshar right behind, or excuse me, Flamen. This is Flamen right behind Almeida. Flamen got in a little bit hot into two, almost got into the back end of Almeida, putting the pressure on. Almeida slips up right there. Let's see if Flamen's able to take advantage.
Nose to tail through the tightest parts of this racetrack. Almeida ahead. That's Flamen behind, and he's going to send it up the inside. Nearly got there. I mean, he got there. Nearly has the spot. Can't quite do it just yet. Side by side they go. Alex de Almeida in the number 30. That's the blue Acura. The light blue McLaren. That is Johan Flamen. He's already had a penalty here in this race. He is trying to fire back and get on the podium.
He's doing a good job of looking at it. I mean, these two are still going at it. Almeida takes a defensive line coming up for 10 and 11 into the hairpin. Flamen looked like he had the run. Let's see who's able to outbrake one another. Almeida, a little bit of a door check there to Flamen. Forces him to go wide. Almeida will hold strong in position number 3, but Flamen now kind of understands what's at stake and what's needed now to get into the top 3 and a podium position.
And while these two calm down for the time being, Thorsten Ulrich goes faster. Here comes Johan Flamen back on the right side. He'll easily clear Alex de Almeida into the final couple of corners. It's now a Ride Sim Sport 1, 2, 3. Maybe not. Into the wall goes Flamen. Here comes Almeida right back on by. All of this to say, I just wanted to let you all know we have got the Driver of the Day vote live over on YouTube. You can make your vote now. And look at that. Flamen trying to get back to the inside of turn 1. But go vote over on YouTube. Your choices are Alex de Almeida, who's on screen, Thorsten Ulrich, who's leading, Andy Ray Miller, who's second in Division 2, and Joshua Benjamin, who is leading Division number 2. Those are your options. Vote for Driver of the Day. This thing is just getting started. We're still crazy 30-some minutes into this race.
And speaking of D2, 1 and 2, look no further than right behind Flamen. These two are right on top of each other. Should Alex and Flamen not be able, or should Almeida and Flamen not be able to settle out this battle, that's going to bring these D2 drivers together to battle for P1 and 2 in Division 2. So these two right now, although in D1 and possibly even faster cars, not being able to settle it out on the track is going to slow them up just a little bit. And these D2 drivers of Joshua Benjamin and Andy Ray Miller are going to close in ever so slightly, get closer to each other, and get closer to this battle.
And Eduardo Pecorini's right behind that as well. He's in 7th overall, 5th in Division 1 class, followed up by Kevin Peake, Christian Gritzko, Armando Aarons through the top 10 and top 5 of Division number 2. They stay in lockstep formation down this long casino straight into the final corner. This time, Almeida further ahead of Flamen. There they go, out of the final corner. And with just 7 minutes to go, it is about 5 or 4 laps to go for Thorsten Ulrich, who leads. There he is on your screen. David Schwartz has got trouble. He's turned around on turn 11.
Looking to get back on track, waiting for cars to come by. He gets back out on track right in the middle, but nobody's coming through, so it's a safe rejoin. Robert Guadagnoli just handed a black flag from the stewards. I'm not for sure if that was maybe a little bit of an incident that caused a little bit of mishap there in turn 11, but Robert Guadagnoli was handed a black flag from the stewards of NARL.
Back on board with Johan Flamen. Inside of 7 minutes to go, he is still charging hard on Alex de Almeida. Almeida now leading the Driver of the Day vote, but not by much. Get your votes in now. You got a little bit of time. We'll give you until we go through results and start talking to some of these drivers, but you've got to make your vote very, very soon. You cannot fall behind on that, as look at that. Flamen closes in a hurry there at turn 10. You got to be careful with that, Zach. I mean, it's not bad thing necessarily to close in that quickly and charge the corner, but it is going to bite you on the back end when you get back on the straightaway.
Especially like you said, Andrew, you're kind of seeing it here, or getting on the straightaway. Almeida was able to get on the gas a little bit quicker than Flamin. Flamin trying to use the draft to get back up to Almeida. It's just not enough because of how far he sunk in that corner. Now, he did stay close right here through the final 2 corners. Flamin looking like he's going to have a run, going to have the preferred line going into turn 1. Almeida having the preferred line in 2. If they're able to hold side by side, Almeida's got it. Almeida stays to the inside, able to hold strong. Flamin not able to complete the pass, and that brings Joshua Benjamin right back into this, and it's going to slow him down. Andy Ray Miller going to have a chance.
Benjamin got close, but he keeps his Corvette just behind Johan Flamin, who continues to look for a way by that Acura in 3rd place. It's interesting. This might be one of the more diverse race result pages we have. McLaren, Acura, McLaren for sure, but then Corvette. And look at that. Alex Almeida takes Johan Flamin all the way to the right side of the racetrack, but finally Flamin has the inside. He will make that pass. Almeida has to settle for 4th, and here comes Joshua Benjamin in 5th.
Almeida feels like he's got a car to contend. He's got to nail turn 10 and 11 right here. Flamin taking the defensive line. Almeida wanted it all. Gets into the leader. Gets into Flamin. Almeida. Big issue coming into 10. Gets into the leader of D2. That's going to open the door for Andy Ray Miller. They stay straight as of right now. But Almeida, big issue going into turn 10 and 11.
Big, massive drama, and now Almeida has to weigh what he wants to do. Does he want to continue challenging here? Does he want to let these D2 drivers battle it out? He'll let Andy Ray Miller go for now, and he has been handed a penalty, it looks like, Zach.
He has been handed a penalty. The stewards were right on top of that. As soon as that happened, the stewards gave him a penalty. So, big implications here for D2 and Johan Flamin. We stay straight as of these two right here. Andy Ray Miller and Joshua Benjamin. Joshua Benjamin gets the short end of the stick there because of that incident. Now with no car in front of him and no front bumper, he's going to have trouble down the straights. This is pretty much Andy Ray Miller's gift to him. Oh, gets into the wall. I spoke too soon. Andy Ray Miller gets into the wall behind Joshua Benjamin.
There's a battle for 3rd and 4th in this class as well, but let's see if we can go back and get a replay as to what just happened down there in the hairpin, because Alex de Almeida was all over the place. Going into that little moment. Here he is. This is him getting passed up. Look at that block. Puts the pressure there on Flamin. Flamin has a spot on the inside. And we saw this pass, but then Almeida comes firing back on the right side of the screen, or the racetrack here. Watch him. He's going to move over right about here. And he's going to send it up the inside, and then comes back over into Joshua Benjamin, and then just blows through the 13 of Flamin. That is a big-time rookie mistake. A lack of awareness into that corner. It happens. I mean, you're caught up in the heat of battle, Zach. I can't blame Alex that much because he's just trying to race like the rest of us. But that is a big, big mistake.
It looks like he got into the grass, maybe around that braking zone, maybe got into the brakes around the grass, and it just kind of shot his car. So, I mean, obviously, I will still agree with you, just that trying to get everything you can right there. As we see now, the lead has changed from D2. Andy Ray Miller able to get in front of Joshua Benjamin, I believe, because of that damage. But it's just, I will agree with you, Andrew. It's just racing as hard as you can. As a rookie, you're trying to gain every position you can, especially this being your first race. And it's just a terrible outcome for pretty much everyone involved right there. You see Andy Ray Miller was to the outside in turn 10. Joshua Benjamin gets a little loose out of 11, trying to get back on the throttle. And Andy Ray Miller they held pretty decently through the straight, but Andy Ray Miller able to power away.
And that was the pass for the top end of Division number 2. It has since solidified with Andy Ray Miller out front of Joshua Benjamin. Here we go, back to the top end of the field. Thorsten Ulrich to come around and I believe get the 1 to go signal this time by. It will be. He'll get the 1 to go mark from Barney the Flagman. One more time around. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. 1 lap to go, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. It'll take a moment for the timer to run out and that graphic to pop up, but trust me, this will be the final lap here as the white flag is not waving there in the flag stand where I expected it to be. That's interesting. I don't see Barney there at all. He's left his post, Zach, but let's cover the rest of the racing here. Edgar Ruiz on the back end of Lucas Souza. We've also got Kevin Peek on the back end of Christian Gritzko. This is inside the top 10 overall, and is for 3rd in D2.
We talked to Gritzko last week. I thought he might have had a little bit more of a chance, maybe just a slow stop, maybe just getting held up by the cars that he came out with around, but not able to get back up into the top 2 fight, which is A-okay. We saw a lot of drama at the end of the race last week, which put him into P2 for a Division 2. So still a lot could happen. We can't really guarantee anything just yet. Gritzko's ran a fantastic race just with everything that happened on lap 1, turn 1. He's able to recover, use the quick repair, and able to hold strong right now in P3 for D2. But with Kevin Peek right behind him, he can't really settle just yet. White Knuckle Racing still on board right here.
Meanwhile, we haven't documented too much of his journey because he's been so far out front. 19, count them now, 20 seconds ahead of his teammate Adrian Olstar. Here comes Thorsten Ulrich to collect himself the very first Division 1 sweep. He has slowed down significantly. He is slowing down. He's not going to give it up, is he? I think he had to slow down, but here it comes across the line, and it will be Thorsten Ulrich to the stripe with the win here today at Circuit Jules Villeneuve. A win big time there as Joshua Benjamin comes to a slow. He will be passed up by Eduardo Pecorini. Heartbreak for what could have been his very first North American Racing League win. Instead, it'll go the way of Andy Ray Miller. Redemption from Sebring a week ago when he spun out of the final corner. Andy Ray Miller comes to the win here in Division 2. And Benjamin in a drag race, I think, got it over Pecorini at the line.
Still a good race right there as we ride here with Kevin Peek coming through the final corners. It looks like it's going to be handed to Christian Gritzko and Kevin Peek as far as 3rd and 4th for Division 2, but we still got drivers here trying to finish the race. Big clump right here, not looking like it's going to be any kind of move. Slow car, probably a slowdown, had to get out of the way, but these guys able to finish strong, no contact.
Sputtering across the line, Thomas Rayleigh. He'll take 17th now. Overall, 9th in class. Heartbreak for him. He slides down the order. Craig Yessen will be the final car to finish this race. He will do so in the 20th position. Everybody else a lap down or whatnot behind him. So Yessen, the final car on the lead lap there in 20th spot. There he goes across the line, and Thorsten Ulrich will be able to celebrate a race win. Look at the Ride Sim Sport drivers out ahead celebrating this one. Thorsten with the win, Adrian with 2nd, Johan with 6th. It was nearly a top 3 for those 3 drivers. But there you go. There is your race, your round 3 winner in both the sprint and feature races here at Montreal. We'll go through your unofficial race results here in just a moment and see where everybody finished in tonight's feature race. But boy, what a crazy one here at Circuit Jules Villeneuve. It always excites here for us with the North American Racing League. Good to be back here. It's been a little while. Taking a look at your unofficial race results. It'll be Thorsten Ulrich, of course, on top of the race, both in the sprint race and the feature. He lost a little bit of time there at the end, Zach, I think due to a slowdown, but it was nearly a 20-second gap back to his teammate, Adrian Olstar. Just impressive stuff out of Thorsten here today. Adrian in that 2nd spot. Andy Ray Miller, it's not often that you have a Division 2 driver on podium. This might even be the very first time it's happened. Andy Ray Miller, 3rd. Overall, wins in Division number 2. What a crazy day it was. You can see an even split of Division 2 and Division 1 drivers in this top 10. That is rare to see. But Andy Ray Miller 3rd, Joshua Benjamin 4th, Eduardo Pecorini, Johan Flamen, your top 6. It'll be Christian Gritzko in 7th, Kevin Peek in 9th, or 8th rather. 9th is Armando Aarons, and 10th, Paulo Godai.
To pick up where you left off, Dominic Turcotte will be 11th. Ricardo Delgado will be 12th. Scott Angelo, Ryan Passage, 13th, 14th. Lucas Souza, 15th. Edgar Ruiz, 16th. Thomas Rayleigh, we kind of documented him. He had a rather just a even kill day. Thomas Rayleigh will be P17. Hector Alvarez, 18th. Sven Hartman will be 19th after his spin. And rounding out your top 20, Craig Jessen will be at 20th.
An even split here in the second 10 as well. So far through top 20, even split of drivers, and nearly an even split here from 21st to 30th. Anthony Way ended 21st, Dean Kerr 22nd, Scott Kimbrough, David Schwartz, Chris Winstone. A bunch of issues for these D1 drivers here, 23rd through 25th, over Mark Booley. They're in the 26th spot, Chao Trin 28th, Robert Guadagnoli. Chao Trin 27th, Robert Guadagnoli 28th. Alex de Almeida slipped down to 29th spot after taking an early exit, and Billy Bowerman takes 30th.
To round out your field, Francesco Antonicelli will be scored 31st, 7 laps down. Emmanuel Sandoval will be 32nd. Jake Browder, 33rd. Tomek Janikowski will be 34th. And rounding out your field will be Yannick Steinhoff in 35th.
We've got a bunch more votes now in the driver of the day vote, but you can still make your vote known. Let's take a look at who you can vote for. Of course, first up will be Alex de Almeida that you nominated. Now, his race was impacted severely there at the end, but he still put together a great one out there today until that point, so you can still vote for him if you'd like. You can also vote for Andy Ray Miller in the 33. He wins down in division number 2. You can also vote for Thorsten Ulrich, who wins this race overall, sweeps today in division number 1. You can also vote for Joshua Benjamin, who finishes second there in division number 2 and is up some 17 spots or so by the end of this one. Those are your options for driver of the day. Let's interview a couple of drivers. Zach, first up, we will bring you Christian Gritzko, as it looks like none of our winners or second place drivers have reported for an interview just yet. Let's move on down to get Christian real quick. Here he is for you, Zach.
We were talking about Christian Gritzko a little bit throughout the race. Christian, you had a good, well, I can't say you had a good race, because I'd still say it was a pretty good race nonetheless. You were inside the top 5 there a little bit, battling with some of these, some of the D1 and D2. Slipped up a little bit in pit stop. I mean, take us a little bit through that. The first lap, a lot of incidents. We saw that you had a little bit of front left damage. So kind of take us through that first lap and what you saw.
The first lap was already intense just because I guess I can't remember who was in front of me. Was it Deke or Peak? I can't remember, but they were taking it kind of easy, so slowing me down. And then Miller was pretty eager to get up beside us. So I don't know if I had any damage at that point, but then once I got slammed from behind by Edgar, I think it was, that's where I was just like, I just need to survive until the pit window. And honestly, I feel like if none of that stuff happened, I probably would have been up there in the battle with Miller and Joshua.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that as well. You started on the front row last week, had a little bit of a turn 1 incident. This week you started up there as well, were able to kind of take off. Just everything kind of fizzled out. It seemed like you had a great car nonetheless, especially with the car choice of the Ford Mustang. Kind of take us through that. Obviously, we're 4 weeks in, we're 4 weeks in now, but a lot of McLarens, a lot of different cars. You chose the Ford Mustang. What was the decision behind that?
First off, the main decision was the looks and the sound of it. It looks amazing. It sounds amazing. But overall, I'm a front engine kind of guy. I just prefer that type of chassis in general. I don't know what it is about this track in particular, but the car felt stable. There was actually a lot of moments throughout the race where I thought, I don't know what it is about this track in particular, but the car felt stable. There was actually a lot of moments throughout the race where I thought I was being held up by whoever was in front. I felt confident in every single turn that I made. At one point I did get a slowdown, but overall the car was amazing, and I wish I didn't get any damage in the feature race, because who knows where I would have been in the end.
Yeah, I understand that, but still a P3 in Division 2 podium, if you will. Nothing to scoff at, nothing to laugh at. So still a good race for you, buddy. We appreciate you taking your time out to come up here and talk to us. We wish you the best for the rest of your night, the rest of the week, and we hope to see you again next week at Charlotte.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
And that'll be Christian Gritzko this evening in car number 91. We've got a full list of people waiting to talk to us now, Zach. Everybody is reported for interview finally. We've got all of the top 2 from each class. Let's get them, beginning with Thorsten Ulrich, who I'm very surprised. Thorsten's not leading the driver of the day vote yet. Maybe that changes with this interview, Thorsten. Congratulations. A sweep on the day. First time we've seen that in Division 1. How did you do it?
First race, I just tried to stay ahead of Yannick. I didn't risk too much because it's super hard to overtake here. And second race, I just got lucky with all the crashes around me. I was like in lap 3 or 4, I already was in P2. So I was quite lucky in the second race, but that's it with the reverse grid races. That's sometimes you have luck, sometimes you don't.
And I'd say that your luck getting through the field there is pretty deserving of our Lucky Performance Lucky Break of the Day award, considering everything that went on around you. Even Yannick was in a big crash. We saw the big sweep of cars there in turns 1 and 2. How hair-raising is it to get through all of that, crashing to the left, crashing to the right, and there you are in the middle? How did you get through all that?
It's really hard to think about what you're doing because there are some not so much experienced drivers in the field. It's super hard to know what they're doing. It's like you want to risk and gain some positions, or you're having a bad crash. It's like always 50-50. But this time I got through. Yannick didn't, and it was good for the drivers and team championship. As Paulo was only P10, and sadly Johan got spun around in the hairpin in the last laps, which cost us a lot of points, but I think it's a good result if you look at the mess which happened around us.
Yeah, it's certainly a big day for you and the team. Congratulations. Real quick before we let you go, how do you feel about Charlotte next week?
I don't really know, actually. It's on off track for me. We'll try some laps, and yeah. I don't really know at the moment.
Well, it's a home track for us, so hopefully you can get the hang of it and have some fun next week. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you for the stream. So always awesome.
Thorsten Ulrich with a big win here, sweeping the day at Montreal. We'll move on down to get second place here, Zach. It's going to be Adrian Allstar with the second place effort. Even got a couple laps led.
It's even a couple laps led for Adrian Olshar. Adrian, I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about how that race goes. We kind of documented you this is the first time in NARL, so I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. How did you feel your first race went? Obviously P2, you're up here talking to us, silver on the podium, if you will, but talk to us a little bit how you fit into the NARL and looking forward how you expect the rest of the season to go for you.
Thank you. First of all, it was a bit up and down. First race was a bit rough, I think. Had a bit of a fight with, I don't actually know, but yeah, Tomek got spun around unfortunately. And yeah, then second race I was basically driving for myself, had a bit of a battle with Andy. And in the end I was just trying not to get an off track and get a slowdown. And yeah.
I'd say you did a pretty good job of not getting an off track or a slowdown. You with you starting, let's see, let me make sure I have my standings real quick. With you starting P6 with everybody in the field, especially with some of the D2 drivers in front, was there any kind of, obviously just kind of driving for yourself like you said, but was there any kind of strategies, just kind of lay back, let everybody single file out? Did you kind of want to jump positions as quickly as you could? Obviously we saw you up front rather quickly, so I'm assuming you wanted to get out front as quickly as possible.
Well, I was very surprised by that. Got to the front real quick, and basically the plan was just holding up the faster drivers in the back to get my teammates past, because they're obviously faster than me. But yeah, in the end, well, they all wrecked themselves, and I got out on top.
Still, a P2 is a really good showing out, especially for your first race in this field. We've documented a lot of fast drivers, so a P2 is very deserving, sir. So we hope to see you back in here again next week at Charlotte. We hope to see you repeat the same success that you had here tonight.
I hope so.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much.
We'll move on down and grab your Division 2 race winner. That's going to be Andy Ray Miller. A big day for Andy here at Montreal. Until the last couple of laps, though, Andy, it was looking like you were squared up for second place. What happened there late?
Oh, man. Yeah, first off, thanks to you guys for the broadcast. You guys do great. Let me mute the YouTube real fast. I'm sorry.
Hard to talk when you hear yourself.
Yeah, that was awkward. No, first off, thank you guys for everything you do and everyone who keeps this league running. It's great. Yeah, I knew I was up where I probably shouldn't be, being a Division 2 driver. I was just trying to keep a good pace, not getting off tracks or cutting any corners to lose more time. But I was surprised to hold on to it. I think after spinning myself right before the finish last week, this was a great recovery. I'm pretty satisfied with what I was able to do today.
It's like you're reading my mind. I was just about to ask you, after last week, the late mistake out of the final corner on the last lap, how redeeming is it here, especially by virtue of somebody else having an issue late in the race, for you to go to victory lane here in Division number 2 and get the win here tonight?
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty stoked and happy with it. I didn't get to put in a lot of laps this time for this track, so I'm really happy with my pace today.
Well, Andy, it's good to catch up with you once again. It's been a little while, so congratulations. I also think you're one of, if not the first, Division 2 driver to put it on podium here overall in the North American Racing League, so congratulations there. I know it was a race of attrition for you guys.
I'll take that stat, and I'll be waiting on that medal. Thank you.
There you go, Andy Ray Miller. Hey, you can still vote for him in the YouTube chat for Driver of the Day. We'll let that run until interviews are over. So, Andy, make your best case now.
Yeah, come on, guys. Bring it, I'll root for you if you root for me. There you go.
There you go, Andy Ray Miller. Third place when it's all said and done overall, but wins the Division number 2. And, Zach, here comes Joshua Benjamin from Division number 2. He finishes 4th overall.
Finishes 4th overall, but takes P2 in Division 2. Joshua, I do kind of want to address the elephant in the room, but I'll kind of wait a little bit on that little bit of a mix-up there with about 2 or 3 to go. But I do kind of want to document a little bit of your drive to that point. Obviously, starting P22 in the feature, you were able to run yourself up into what looked like a 3rd overall. I got a little bit from Adrian Olshar there, who started pretty much towards the front, but I kind of want to get word from somebody who started a little bit towards the back. What was it like from your view, and what did you have to do to get to that position?
I had some family issues that made me miss qualifying, but I knew I was quick enough here to come through the pack at least a little bit. After the first 2 laps of the feature and realizing I was knocking on the door of the top 10, I kind of stiffened up and straightened up, if you will, and made sure, all right, we're going to go ahead and keep all the fenders on her. Foreshadowing.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, that foreshadowing did kind of come around to get you. Obviously, you saw the 2 D1 drivers in front of you battling. I guess my question to you, when it comes down to that, obviously you were just wrong place, wrong time, nothing you could have done. Is there anything looking back that you feel like you could have maybe just waited? Obviously you had Andy Ray Miller behind you putting on the pressure, so it was going to be difficult to pretty much pull over and let those guys battle, but still able to pull off a P2 because of no fender with everything that happened. Talk to us a little bit through that, and what was your mindset after the fact of that damage happening?
Never did I ever think I would be disappointed with a P4 overall in the series. Never did I ever. Honestly, I really don't think, even knowing, I would have approached it too much differently. My mindset the whole race was let it come to you. if the move's on, take it. If it's not, don't fight. You lose so much time fighting around this track. Yeah, no, I just feel like it was one of those ones that when you're watching it, it's like, oh, this is going to happen, isn't it? This is going to happen. They're going to wreck. Oh, no. Don't hit them. Don't hit them. Ah, they hit me.
Yeah,
we all know it. We all felt it.
The battle in front was certainly intense, and I'm not going to lie, watching it, I did kind of wanted to see how it played out without any kind of contact or major contact, and it's terrible to see it happen to you as well, like I said, with nothing to do with the battle, but still go ahead, I'm sorry.
If it had kept playing out the way it was playing out, I was going to stick my nose in the issue. I mean, a podium in the NARL sounds really appealing.
Well, hey, we got Charlotte next week. We were kind of documenting that a little bit. We hope to see you there next week, and we hope to see you with the similar type of pace that you had tonight and be able to take away a top 3 position. We saw it for Andy Ray Miller. He had trouble last week coming out of the final corner. Maybe it happens for you next week.
We can hope. And I got to commit a cardinal sin here, but I got to correct the commentator. I do have a win in this series in the amateur class.
See, there we go. There we go. I'm relatively new, so I'm still trying to get used to it.
Inaugural race at Hockenheim.
Oh my
Andrew,
gosh. Thanks for correcting me, Andrew. I'm going to throw you under the bus on that one.
Memories are coming back to me now. It's been so long. Like, it's genuinely been, I think,
so long.
I think 4 years.
Yes, sir. It's been a long time, but man, I'm hoping to get to talk to you guys some more soon.
Hey, that's the hope. Congratulations, Josh. And we will bring the vote to a close for Driver of the Day. Josh, I'm sorry to say, despite my nomination here for a second week in a row, it's not going to be you, but congratulations.
Womp womp. Oh, well, we'll try next week.
We'll try next week. Joshua Benjamin, another great result here out of him, and we will lock down that Driver of the Day vote, and it's going to be Thorsten Ulrich and Zach. I think that is a very warranted Driver of the Day. Very, very deserving there for Thorsten Ulrich. That, if I had to just handpick somebody for who I would pick Driver of the Day to be, without a vote, it would be Thorsten.
Oh, 1,000%, especially coming from P15 in the feature to taking the lead and then putting a 20-second gap from yourself to second place. I mean, that's very, very deserving. It's a very, very deserving drive for a Driver of the Day.
And of course, I would give him Lucky Break of the Day as well. Brought to you by Lucky Performance. I think that is just fitting. I hate to keep throwing accolades and awards at somebody who's already got it all, but I think he ticks all the boxes today. I think it was just a Thorsten kind of day here at Montreal. So thanks for watching to this point. It's been a fantastic one as always. Big thank you to our partners with this series. Of course, Muradness, JS Consulting, Screw Compressor Service Incorporated, and our partners here at the channel, Whiplash SimCams, ATVOs, CC's Business, Cody, Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. Zach, looking at the schedule, we've been talking about it for weeks. Charlotte's up next. It's going to be crazy next week, isn't it?
I think it's going to be crazy if it's anything like Canada, which I feel like it is. And like we were talking about and some of the drivers mentioned it, it's very difficult to pass. You can't really give up a lot of time at Canada. So Charlotte coming up next week, there's multiple lines that you can run at Charlotte and still be fast. There's multiple passing zones that you could still be fast, even if you do try to dive it on somebody. Maybe if you do try to defend, you could still be fast. So Charlotte next week, I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready to get there already.
That'll do it for us this evening as far as Montreal goes, but next up we head out to Rockingham Speedway. I just love saying that. A fist pump and everything there with Rockingham Speedway. It just feels right. I don't know, but Rockingham Speedway, one more time there. Next up for us here at Pit Stop TV as we head out there for the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series. They make their return to the channel now after a year of broadcasting them now is what it's come down to, even though we took the last couple months off thanks to Summer Shootout here at the channel. It was about a year ago now that we picked up with them in the middle of season number 2 at Indianapolis. And now here we are, middle of season number 4, and these guys are getting ready to battle for a championship. You've got to catch everything going on in BRB coming up with this next race on Tuesday. Then, of course, we head out to Charlotte, so we're keeping it in North Carolina next week. Rockingham, North Carolina on Tuesday. technically Harrisburg, Concord area of North Carolina on Thursday, but Charlotte Motor Speedway, gonna be a fun one. That's been my home on Tuesdays the last 8 weeks, a few Mondays in there as well, so it's gonna be good to pay that off and go to Charlotte virtually here on the sim. And then Zach, we head out to Homestead Miami Speedway the following Tuesday with the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series as they will complete their regular season. Plenty of places to follow along there at the bottom of the screen.
If you want to stay up to date on everything and anything that's going on Pit Stop TV, BRB Butt Kicker, or North American Racing League, follow us on the social medias. You can go to our official website, www.pitstoptv.com, or you could also go to facebook.com/pitstoptv, Instagram /pit_stop_TV. You can also follow us on TikTok, where we're going to be posting a lot more action, a lot more final laps, a lot more coming to you on TikTok. Pit Stop TV1, twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV. You can also follow us, hit that subscribe button down there on YouTube. Make sure that you stay up to date on any and all broadcasts upcoming Pit Stop TV1 and on X Pit Stop TV.
That'll do it for us this evening here at Montreal, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve as it's known. Thanks for joining us. It has been a pleasure here as always. We'll catch you all next time here at Pit Stop TV with the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series making their return on Tuesday, August 5th. We'll see you there.